Hello, welcome back to the 2024 JRDA Championships. We are going into our final game, the championship game that is for the Open Division JRDA. This is going to be the Philly Roller Derby Juniors taking on the FoCo Spartan Junior Derby. We are doing our in-house introductions here for our skaters. We'll talk about our skaters who are working in this game. Skating today for Philly, number 00, Matzo Brawl. Number 04, Insanity. Number 101, TIE Fighter. 1014, No Gus, No Glory. Number 11, Mayday. 13, Mills on Wheels. Number 16, Stay in Your Laney. Number 1717, Bunicula. Number 180, Eye Roll. Number 26, Bad Blood. Number 3377, Bee Sting. Number 37, Holly Blockett. Number 44, Flomo. 444, Smashiopia. Number 69, Steampunk. Number 922, Pass a Fist. Number 973, Lady Gotcha. And number 99, Soul Crusher. Those are our Philly Roller Derby Juniors. Skating today for FoCo in this game. Number 00, Ruby Doom. 100, Monster. Number 11, Shreddy Krueger. 116, David and Goliath. Number 119, Truffle Shuffle. Number 138, Peter Pants. Number 1776, The Kraken. 253, Mini Tack. 269, Yaya. 28, Hey Hey. 29, Gonzo, I'm sorry. Number 3, Spilla. Number 40, Devlin. Number 618, Reaper's Blade. Number 71, Chameleon. 888, Axel. 911, Scream. Number 947, Seek and Destroy. And number 999, Slim Skady. Just about 30 seconds here to first whistle. Once again, our previous game was our championship game for the female division. That was taken. The winner for that was Santa Cruz when they played Rose City. This game is for the championship for the JRDA Open Division. Philly taking on the FoCo Spartans. Hey, there's a rolling whistle, so we are going on into our game. Trying to eye up our jammers here for our first jam. Okay, 1014, No Gus, No Glory, out for Philly. And number 138, Peter Pants, has the star for FoCo. Peter Pan's working to the front of the pack, but Philly stretching out that 3 wall held up by Flomo and Matzo Brawl in the front of the pack. No Gus, No Glory getting some distance there on the track. Let's see what's going to happen there with that. No Gus, No Glory taken out of bounds by FoCo's defense. Gets 2 whistles, so No Gus, No Glory is our lead jammer. Peter Pan's getting some defense by TIE Fighter. TIE trying to take Peter out of bounds. Peter stays in bounds, completing that initial pass. No Gus, No Glory now is in, I believe, is on a scoring pass. Yes, we see that him in there working at the top of the pack against those 2 FoCo blockers. So No Gus, No Glory coming out with the first 4 points of the game. Peter Pan stuck, getting some defense by number 26, that's Bad Blood. Peter Pans is out with a 4-point pass as well. So No Gus, No Glory is in. Look at that toe stop work. Just about gets through, but ultimately goes to go out of bounds. So No Gus, No Glory will have to recycle. Peter Pants in that pack. TIE Fighter working one of the butt positions of that tripod. Bad Blood with that brace, effectively putting a slowdown on Peter Pants. No Gus, No Glory taken out of bounds once again. Comes back in. Has a toe stop on the line, but ultimately looks like he lost a little bit of balance and did touch out of bounds, and that is out of bounds legally, so he's going to recycle. No Gus, No Glory now called off on a penalty in his first jam of the game. So Peter Pants from FoCo Spartans is on a power jam, although not lead jammer. Peter Pants now has picked up 8 points for FoCo. We did see 4 points by No Gus, No Glory prior to that penalty. No Gus, No Glory is going to be frozen in the box to start this next jam, which means a power start in the hands of FoCo. Looks like there was a jam ref holding on to some pending points there for No Guts, No Glory. So all said and done, both teams are coming off that first jam with 8 points. So we are matched up. It is still, though, this power start in the hands of FoCo. Let's see what they've got for a jammer. This is David and Goliath. TIE Fighter, and it looks like eye roll. Oh, and Insanity jumping with that defense. Insanity bringing David and Goliath all the way to the back. No Guts, No Glory starts this jam in the box. That means he is eligible for lead if he can break through first. And it is 2 leads in a row here for No Guts, No Glory. Okay, I believe that lead is going to No Guts, No Glory. There were an erroneous set of whistles there, I believe. Let's make sure that the appropriate dimmers are still being pointed at. Okay, so No Guts, No Glory is lead. David and Goliath just completing an initial pass, coming in on the first scoring pass of the jam. Eye roll, taking David and Goliath to the back. So No Guts, No Glory already having 4 points on this jam. Now we've seen, if you've seen Philly play, you know No Guts, No Glory. 36 to 40 points is not an unusual number. So No Guts, No Glory certainly now looking at a 12-point jam for Philly. We are jammer on jammer now. And Gus getting a little bit of a delay there in the pack, but comes back in up the middle, staying in bounds by those 2 defensive blocks. Oh no, looks like Gus is going to recycle. There's David and Goliath trying to signal the call off, but he is not lead, so this jam will continue. Just to clarify, our lead jammer is No Guts, No Glory. I believe there was an erroneous set of 2 whistles there, but David and Goliath was being given the not lead jammer hand signal after that pass. So No Guts, No Glory is our lead jammer. Well, not anymore because Gus is in the penalty box. So that is going to be a 2-minute jam. So Peter Pants did end up picking up 11 points for FoCo. No Guts, No Glory with 12 points, and we are down to a 1-point game, 19-20. Philly with that 1-point lead. Slim Skady out to jam for FoCo, and Slim Skady getting 2 whistles. He's our lead jammer. Coming out to jam once again. No Guts, No Glory starting this jam in the box. Now Gus coming out, getting some blocking by Reaper's blade. Reaper letting No Guts, No Glory go, and he is out. Getting that not lead hand signal. Slim Skady signaling that call off. And there is a lead change in the hands of FoCo by a matter of 2 points. 22 FoCo, Philly 20. There is number 11, Mayday, taking that jammer star for Philly. There's our camera focusing in on Mayday. And let's see who we have. This is 253 Mini Tac out to jam for FoCo. That whistle starts the action. Mayday and Mini Tac trying to find their weak links through there. Unfortunately, Mini Tac has to deal with TIE Fighter. Mayday is out with the Philly lead. Mini Tac taken out of bounds. Looks like Benicular working that defense along with Eye Roll. Here comes Mayday on her first scoring pass of the jam. She's crashing in, taking on all 4 FoCo blockers. Mayday is in, and she is out. We are jammer on jammer. Mini Tac completing her initial pass, but Mayday with 4 points on the board. Looks like that's Reaper's blade bracing that tripod up at the front of the pack. Mayday is on the scoring pass, trying to get a hole in that tripod to get through. Holly Blockett coming in there, trying to break up that defense a little bit to rescue Mayday from that defense. Mayday still stuck in the pack. Lead change back in the hands of Philly by a matter of only 2 points. And Mini Tac is going to have a seat in the box. So this is a power jam in the hands of Mayday with Philly. Mayday getting some blocking. That is number 29 on their roster. That is Gonzo. All right, 8-2 jam there in favor of Philly. They're at 28. FoCo 24. So Philly with just a matter of 4 points and a lead. There's No Gus, No Glory taking the Jammer Star once again. And it looks like Minitac is still seated from that penalty in the last jam. So this will be a Philly power start. And that whistle starts the action. No Gus, No Glory is off. Gets a little bit of defense on the outside. Chooses to go up the middle for that pack. Now taking on this tripod of FoCo blockers. Oh, and a high block called No Gus, No Glory. That, at the same time, Minitac is released. Minitac getting some blocking by Flomo and Matzo Brawl, but Minitac is out and is our lead jammer. So power jam now in the hands of FoCo when they are on this 4-point deficit. Matzo Brawl taking Minitac out of bounds. Matzo Brawl trying to draw that cut, and Minitac taking the safe route and recycling to the way back of the pack. No Gus, No Glory coming back in from that earlier high block just a moment ago. FoCo throwing a full tripod with some nice pack bridging. Oh, and No Gus, No Glory called off in a second penalty in this jam. Back-to-back penalties for Philly. Minitac still on this scoring pass, taken out by Flomo. Minitac goes and signals the call-off while she is down. And that jam brings us to a tie. 28-28. Now just 2 games ago, we saw that game that had a lead change. I believe that was by Des Moines late in the game. So right off the bat, right within the first 10 minutes of this game, we have a tied score and a power start with No Gus, No Glory seated in the box along with a blocker. So out to jam here. This is Peter Pants for FoCo, and Peter Pants is our lead jammer. No Gus, No Glory standing on the last 10 seconds of his penalty. Peter Pants on a first scoring trip through. TIE Fighter taken down. TIE Fighter, one of Philly's most proactive blockers, taken down means that Peter Pants did have an advantage to get through. So Peter Pants now breaking that tie, bringing FoCo in the lead by 4 points. Looks like No Gus, No Glory passing that star over to TIE Fighter, and Peter Pants may have scored 4 more points, making this an 8-point jam for FoCo. They're now 36 over Philly's 28, so a lead change on top of that tie. And it looks like we're going to have number 99 Soul Crusher out to jam here for Philly next. And let's see who we've got. We're going to have a pack advantage in the hands of Philly. FoCo down those 2 blockers in the box. Looks like that was Flomo with that defense on Seek and Destroy. Soul Crusher wearing that star for Philly. The Kraken working some defense against Soul Crusher, being joined now by Monster. Soul Crusher still eligible for a lead, but FoCo's jammer Seek and Destroy is out and is lead. Soul Crusher meeting the brunt of that 2-wall by those FoCo blockers at the top of the pack. Soul Crusher taken out. 4 points scored by Seek and Destroyed, strengthening that lead change that they had just pulled off. So Seek and Destroy back in for more points. Comes in, makes her way through the pack, and she's out with another 4. So Seek and Destroy now looking at an 8-point jam with a minute left on the jam clock. And here comes Seek and Destroy on a 3rd round of points. Seek calls off the jam. Looks like she's not going to have any more points on those 4 whistles. So 8-0 there in favor of FoCo. No, there are some points rolling in by our jam refs. 2 more. That's going to make it a nice round 10-point jam. So FoCo now sitting at 46 over Philly's 28. Our penalty box appears to be vacant, so both teams at full strength. And it looks like that's B-Sting, 3-3-7-7 on the jammer line here for Philly. B-Sting taking on David and Goliath. And no, that was, okay, no, B-Sting still on the track, but David and Goliath is our lead jammer. B-Sting now passing the star over the TIE Fighter. David and Goliath taking a bit of a barrel roll on the inside. David goes for the call-off. Appears that Philly's going to be scoreless in that jam, and it's going to be a +3 for FoCo now. FoCo at 49, Philly 28. There is number 11, Mayday, back out the jam for Philly. And Slim Skady, number 999, has that star for the FoCo Spartans. There's a whistle. 3-4 pack in favor of FoCo. Philly down a blocker. A little bit of a stumble there by Slim Skady. There's a whistle. It is a FoCo lead now. Slim Skady in control. Mayday still on this initial pass, taken to the outside line, but stays in bounds. Mayday completes her initial pass. Both jammers able to score points. A little bit of jammer on jammer action now. Mayday coming in. Slim Skady takes a spill, goes for the call-off. Mayday did have 3 points on that jam, but Slim Skady with 6, so FoCo 55, Philly 31. Soul Crusher back on the jammer line for Philly, and 253, this is Mini Tac taking the star for the FoCo Spartans. Lead jammer currently available to both of these jammers. Looks like Devlin working some defense at the top of the pack. Soul Crusher is out with the Philly lead. Iroh making his way to the top of the pack, forcing Mini Tac to restart this pass. Mini Tac is still on her initial. This is a scoring pass underway by Soul Crusher from Philly. Holly Blockett in there trying to break up that wall of FoCo blockers, currently putting a slowdown on Soul Crusher. There is a track cut called on Soul Crusher, so it's going to be a 2-minute jam, and Philly is losing lead. So this is a power jam in the hands of 253. This is Mini Tac. Philly working a strong defense top of the pack. Benicula and a Holly Blockett in there at the top. Mini Tac looks like she may be in the process of a star stash. Getting some blocking by TIE Fighter at the back of the pack. Soul Crusher finishes her time for that track cut. She comes back in the derby. And a low block being called on TIE Fighter is going to take one Philly blocker off the track. Mini Tac puts that star back on her helmet. Oh no, there's a star pass over to Devlin, number 40. Devlin taking a roll around those Philly blockers coming around the turn. Devlin puts 4 points on the board for FoCo. Now Devlin coming in, moving to the outside, trying to get through, but Iroh and Holly Blockett putting a block, I should say, on Devlin. And that jam is over. A little bit of a high five there between Devlin and Iroh. They're opposing teammates, but no reason you can't still be friends. 20-point game now. FoCo 61, Philly 41. 13 minutes left to our first half. And there is B-Sting back out there on the jammer line. B-Sting jamming for Philly. Now, I've also seen B-Sting at Gotham as well. I think B-Sting staged for a couple different teams. Gotham Juniors, I should say. going into a team timeout. So let's run through our officials who are working this championship open division game. We have Nesquik, Rocket Chop, Eggs Benedict, Misery Chop, Mortal Comcat, Bon Appetit, Tally Up, Bionic, Mac and Cheeks, Richie Cranium, Noah Fallon, Miller Light, Synapsing, Elemental, Web Links, and Casey Dia. Now, if these official names all sound familiar, that's because a lot of our officials are working double, triple duty to make sure that these games happen and are doing a phenomenal job. So a lot of love to all of our volunteers, but for the moment, our officials, our NSOs, and our referees, we're going to consider them all officials because they are all official. A lot of us have come from all parts of the country to Chicago this weekend to help be part of champs and make them possible for these wonderful junior athletes. There's a rolling whistle bringing us out of that team timeout. Once again, 3377 Beasting taking that line there on Philly. And looks like this is going to be number 17. I can't get quite a good read there on that number, so we'll wait for the scoreboard to give us the official for the FoCo Jammer. Seek and Destroy. Okay, 947 taking on Beasting. And a 5-on-5 derby action here because our penalty box is empty. Beasting stuck at the back of the pack. Seek and Destroy getting some a little bit of a hit there by number 26, Bad Blood, but Bad Blood just a hair too slow. Seek and Destroy is out with a FoCo lead. Matzo Brawl with a hip check, taking Seek and Destroy out of bounds, coming around the pivot line turn. Now TIE Fighter coming in to brace a tripod. Flomo working the back of that tripod again, Seek and Destroy. My guess would be Flomo is working with Matzo Brawl, but I can't quite get a good visual. No, okay, Bad Blood. If you've seen Flomo and Bad Blood block together, a very strong pair. TIE Fighter receiving a star pass from Beasting, but that jam is called off. So all said and done in that jam, 1-0 in favor of FoCo. They're 62, Philly 41. Down just under 12 minutes left to our first half of the game. Back to our game. We got Mayday out there taking on Peter Pants. TIE Fighter coming to the front of the pack, joining Benicula and I-Roll, trying to put a block on Peter Pants, and Mayday is out. She is our lead jammer for Philly. Now both jammers are out of the pack, having completed their initial passes. Mayday about 20 feet ahead. She comes into the pack, working against these FoCo blockers. Mayday taking on a bounce, coming around the turn. TIE Fighter keeping Peter Pan stuck in the back. Oh, Mayday looks like is on her way to the penalty box along with the FoCo pivot. So power jam now in the hands of FoCo. So far, a scoreless jam. A little bit of a tumble there by Peter Pan's over Holly Blockett. But Peter Pan does have the first 4 points of the jam. TIE Fighter in there trying to break up a hole while Mayday is still seated for that penalty. Mayday is released. Still the jammer for the jam for Philly. Looks like TIE Fighter, I'm sorry, that's Benicula making a trip to the box right now. 4 more points by Peter Pants and the FoCo Spartans. Mayday is out with 4 points as well for Philly. And Mayday coming in and is taken down. Mayday dragged to the back of the pack and forced to recycle. TIE Fighter working some defense against Peter Pants. Peter Pants is out with another 4 points. Now FoCo looking at a 12-point jam. FoCo scoring a lot of points here in just a matter of a few minutes when Philly initially had the lead in the game. Mayday called off. Okay, no, Mayday not called off on a high block. There's a high block hand signal by a jam ref, but that is going to a blocker. Mayday does finish that jam, though, with a few points. She ends up, all said and done, having 7 points up against FoCo's 16. So FoCo sitting at 78, Philly 48, 30-point game. Under 10 minutes left now to our first half. There is Soul Crusher back out there on the line for Philly. And David and Goliath jamming for FoCo. Soul Crusher working her way to the top of the pack, but FoCo working on that tripod, held up by Reaper's Blade. Asterisk to Reaper's Blade, one of our announcers this weekend, and big shout out. She did a phenomenal job along with our other announcers, along with Scream, also from FoCo. Anyways, back to our game. We are still mid-jam. Soul Crusher trying to take that tripod straight up the middle to get past that FoCo defense. And David and Goliath, still our lead jammer, now has 4 points. David and Goliath coming out is called off in a track cut. So just as that jam times out, David and Goliath will go and sit for a track cut penalty. That's going to lend a power start in the hands of Philly. And we are going into a timeout called by our officials. Penalty board here up on the display. No Gust, No Glory sitting on 4 penalties. Now we know first half of the game, 4 penalties is not a good sign. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, FoCo, they're averaging about 2 penalties there for the bulk of their skaters. David and Goliath just sitting on 1. So that 4-point streak there for No Gust, No Glory could make a difference here later on in the game. As we know, after 7 penalties, you are fouled out. So 4, kind of getting into the top end of that yellow zone, into the red zone for penalty count. 7:51 left to our first half of the game, and Beasting out there with the Jammer Star. Still in this timeout here, called by our officials. Now, after this game, there's another set of 4 whistles. I'm not sure if this is a second timeout by our officials or if this is turning into something else. Either way, still at a break here. After this game, we'll be doing our awards ceremony for all of our skaters, including the ones who are seniors and aging out. Off the top of my head here, for Philly, aging out this season, Matzo Brawl, TIE Fighter, Mayday, Banicula, Flomo, and Lady Gotcha. We will go into further detail about our senior skaters here in the award ceremony. That's when we will all have our official lists, and we make sure that we do not leave any skaters out of that. There is a referee huddle here in the middle of the track. So, okay, this may be now looking at an official review. Looks like our official review is breaking up, and everybody is returning to their spots here on the track. So there's a rolling whistle. We are at the end of that review. FoCo's jammer is going to be starting this jam in the box. We're not sure if that's the outcome of the review or if that penalty was assessed late in that last jam, but Beasting from Philly will be out to start this jam on a power start. So Beasting out, trying to find the easiest way through the pack. Beasting goes out, tries to step on that line and stay in bounds, but ultimately lands one toe stop off the track. So Beasting recycles, and they are lead. First lead for Philly here in a number of jams, and a much-needed power jam. Beasting now coming in on a first scoring pass, but it's taken down. Beasting trying to work that inside line. FoCo sending 2 blockers to swarm. TIE Fighter taking one of those blockers out of bounds. Here comes David and Goliath coming in from that penalty box. Lead is closed, as we say in the officiating community. That means lead is not available. So David and Goliath will complete this initial pass, but is not our lead jammer. Beasting coming out, scoring 4 points for Philly. Now Beasting is in on a second scoring trip and comes out with another 4, appearing to be quick and easy earned points, but we know how that is. It's easier than it looks, or harder than it looks, I should say. So Beasting now with 4 points, David and Goliath with 8. Beasting has every opportunity to call off this jam, but they are continuing to run this, trying to squeeze every point out of this jam that they can. And Beasting is taken down. That looks like that was Scream with that defense. Now Scream is forcing Beasting all the way to the back. Beasting continuing to run the course with this jam. 16 seconds to go. All right, Scream continuing to work some defense against Beasting. Beasting drawn to the back once again. And there's 4 whistle. That ends the jam. So FoCo with 5 points. Philly picking up 12 all said and done. So down to just 30 points separating these teams. That is not much. Still in the first half of the game. 5.5 minutes to go. Looks to me like that is number 11, Mayday, out to jam for Philly. And that is Slim Skady, number 999, jamming for FoCo. And Mayday goes out of bounds by a matter of a toe stop. Out of bounds enough to have to recycle. So little bit of a block there on Mayday. It is a lead in the hands of Slim Skady. Slim Skady taken out and brought back by Flomo. TIE Fighter in there trying to break up that defense. Actually, no, looks like TIE Fighter has that jammer star after receiving a star pass from Mayday. So TIE Fighter just being blocked out of bounds to the inside. Now being stopped on the track. Slim Skady at the back of the pack. Smashiapia and Flomo, 44 and 44, working that defense against Slim Skady. TIE Fighter, also known as Rogers, receiving that star pass for Philly. And as soon as TIE Fighter gets that star on his helmet, Slim Skady calls off the jam. So +8 for FoCo. They're at 98. Philly scoreless in that jam. Looking at number 99, Soul Crusher out the jam next for Philly. And I think this is going to be Seek and Destroy out the jam for FoCo with just under 4 minutes left to our first half. Taking a look at our Philly bench here on the live feed, you can see Teflon Donnan, Devoid of Mercy, and Christine Rogers, our 3 bench staff, our bench coaches. Seek and Destroy coming out with a FoCo lead. Seek and Destroy in with 4 points. TIE Fighter receiving a star pass, has 4 points for Philly. My assumption, we haven't seen No Gust No Glory here jam in quite some time, and I'm going to guess it's got something to do with those 4 penalties. There's a track cut hand signal being called by a jammer referee. It is not going to the Philly jammer, so let's see what happens from that. That might be the FoCo pivot receiving that track cut penalty, which is going to mean that we'll have both jammers back on here for the next jam. FoCo now over that century mark. They're at 102. Philly 67. 4 whistles bringing us into a timeout called by our officials. Each team down 1 blocker in the box. It's a 3 versus 3 pack. Beasting out there, 3-3-7-7 taking on Peter Pants. Beasting coming out with lead for Philly. Some nice awareness there by Peter Pants. Looks like Peter Pants, obviously we are not officials up here, but from our advantage point, Peter Pants may have been on the line, but choosing the safe route there to recycle. Beasting out with 4 points for Philly. Now they're working on their second scoring trip. Beasting rolled to the back of the pack. That is the pivot from FoCo with that rollback on Beasting. Philly forming a tripod at the top of the pack. Let's see, there's a track cut being called. That's the pivot from FoCo. That's number 100, Monster. That will thin things out a little bit here for Beasting, who is still on this jam as our lead jammer. Beasting working against the Kraken. They are trying to guard that inside line against Beasting, but Beasting is out with another 4. So Beasting looking at 8 points with 30 seconds left to our jam. Oh, Flomo going for some defense against the pivot, but Flomo gets taken down. Beasting also taken down by Monster. Down to less than a minute for our first half. Philly picking up a little bit. They've got 11 points on that jam, compliments of Beasting. They're at 78. Scoreless jam for FoCo, 102. Looks like Mayday is out there with that jammer star for Philly. Philly certainly feeling the effects of having one of their highest scoring jammers sitting on 4 penalties in the first half of the game. But Mayday does make it. Gets through on the inside, and she's our lead jammer. Working at a stopped pack with FoCo stretching out their 3-wall at the front of the pack. Here comes Mayday. Mayday taking that pack up the middle. There's a clockwise block being called on. I believe that was 911 scream. That's going to thin that pack out a little bit for Mayday. Mayday has 4 points, so closing in on the end of the first half with a little bit of a closing in that points gap. Mayday still lead. And Mayday getting taken out of bounds, but it looks like there's an incomplete scoring pass. That blocker taking Mayday out also went out of bounds, so Mayday is allowed to re-enter without getting that track cut penalty, so Mayday picking up 3 points on that pass. Kind of waiting for our scoreboard to confirm that at this time. Mayday is out with another 4. So now Mayday looking at a 12-point jam. Peter Pants also managing the score now with 4 points. Mayday ending the jam, calling it off. Looks like there's 2 more points rolling in by our jammer referee for Mayday. So 14-4 in favor of Philly. Philly 92, FoCo 106. That is not a big point spread to be going into our second half with. We're going to be taking a 15-minute or so break, and we will come back to you with more Derby action here in Chicago at our Open Division JRDA Championship game. Welcome back to our championship game here, live to you in Chicago. We are in the championship game of our Open Division team. It came down to Philly versus FoCo. We're going to take a little bit of our point scoring here. Going into our second half, FoCo 106, Philly 92. A brief look at our penalties. As we can see there, pretty low except for No Gust, No Glory sitting on 4, and that's probably why we haven't seen Gus jam in the second half of the first period. The 4 penalties is not looking good. There for FoCo, Devlin. We've seen Devlin skate mostly as a blocker. I believe she did take 1 star pass on that 4, but their jammers for FoCo, pretty low penalty count. So those numbers alone are going to affect how these teams play and the outcome of this game. Certainly that 4 points by No Guts, No Glory certainly puts Philly at a bit of a disadvantage going into the second half. But, hey, let's get back to our game and let the game play itself out. Why don't we? Once again, Philly 92, FoCo 106. So not a whole lot of points separating those two teams. Philly was down by about 30 points. Our last couple jammers there, Beasting and Mayday, did manage to pick that up and, bring it to where it is. So going into our second half, we're doing our gear checks by our officials. Our tournament head photographer there in the middle, that is Andrew Keys, coming to us from Eastern Pennsylvania region. We see Andrew Keys at a lot of Philly Juniors events, actually any derby event, mostly in PA. He will occasionally pop up to. Philly getting some love here in the crowd. They are taking a bit of a huddle there before we move into the second half of the game. It is a 14-point game. And to say it's on the table for both teams is certainly an understatement, because a lot can and will happen here in the next half hour. So a rolling whistle will make the second half official. Philly playing No Guts, No Glory. And FoCo, waiting for our jammers. Okay. Peter Pan's out there for FoCo. No Guts, No Glory is out with a Philly lead, despite those 4 penalties. Philly playing in that card. So Gus, toe stopping on the inside line, stays in bounds, has 4 points. Peter Pan's still scoreless. Here comes Gus on a second scoring trip. Gus taking an extra moment to be very aware of where his toe stops land to avoid picking up that 5th penalty. Does take the safe route and recycle. Peter Pants has 4 points to his name now, but Peter Pants is being held the back of the pack by Flomo and TIE Fighter. Gus coming out with another 4. So mid-jam down to a 10-point game. Peter Pants coming out with 4 points as well. So at this point, this jam looking to be a wash for our jammers. No Guts, No Glory still coming out, or still fighting with that FoCo defense inside the pack. No Guts, No Glory taking an extra minute just to make sure that no accidental track cuts are committed. Goes out of bounds and recycles. Now Gus being slowed down at the top of the pack by all 4 FoCo blockers, throwing a wall. Gus certainly having a moment here trying to get past that defensive wall. Now he's taking on number 911, Scream. Asterisk next to Scream. Scream also one of our announcers this weekend. No Guts, No Glory is out, making this a 12-point jam. Not to be outdone, Peter Pan's also with 12 points, so No Guts, No Glory calls off the action. 12-12 for both of our teams. So although Philly went to play No Guts, No Glory, it actually ended up getting them nothing but 2 12-point jams. So still a 14-point game. Now it looks like Mayday coming out. Could be a pack advantage in the hands of FoCo. Philly started with 2 blockers in the box. Now just 1 blocker left. Slim Skady has that jammer star. Mayday jamming for Philly. Mayday is in, trying to get to she is at the front of the pack, but FoCo has their entire defensive strength against Mayday. Mayday finds a hole. Number 100 Monster speeds up. Nicely executed hip check, sending Mayday out of bounds and forcing her to restart this pass. Shreddy Krueger and Monster working side by side. Mayday picking up lead for Philly. FoCo losing Reaper's Blade to the penalty box. That's going to thin that pack out a little bit by one blocker here for Mayday. Mayday coming in, that pack, that wall turning into a tripod. Holly Blockett coming in, trying to push that tripod out of Mayday's way. Mayday, though, gets stuck trying to get right up the middle. Holly Blockett is in there once again. There is a high block handed, and let's see what's going to happen from that. That is going to a FoCo blocker. So FoCo down 2 blockers, while Mayday still our lead jammer. Mayday taken down. So FoCo still working the pretty strong defense. Mayday finally making her way out of that pack. We are jammer on jammer now. Mayday has 4 points for Philly. Both of our jammers coming out with 4 points. Mayday still lead. Mayday's at the front of the pack, but taking on the FoCo pivot now. Mayday taken down. Slim Skady comes out with another 4 points, and that jam is called off. Our live feed focusing in on our jammers. David and Goliath for FoCo. No gust, no glory for Philly, and David and Goliath is out with a FoCo lead. Star pass over to number 101, TIE Fighter. So TIE Fighter now with that jammer star. David and Goliath with 4 points for FoCo. FoCo now losing 2 blockers to the penalty box. TIE Fighter still with that jammer star. Gets out of the pack. Not lead, but does have 4 points for Philly. Now David and Goliath taking a seat in the box, so Philly on a much-needed power jam. No chance to call off this jam. We have about a full minute left. TIE Fighter still with that jammer star. Ty is working at the front of the pack, powering his way past that pivot, stays in bounds, gets 4 points for Philly. David and Goliath taking a stand in the box, so just a couple seconds left to this power jam. And TIE Fighter is out, being chased out of the engagement zone. He's got 4 more points. David and Goliath now unable to call the jam. David and Goliath is out, picks up 4 points for FoCo. TIE Fighter still has 25 long seconds left. Well, both jammers do, actually. TIE Fighter taking on a bounce. FoCo forms their 4-wall defense at the front of the pack. TIE Fighter taking a bit of a trip there, gets back up on his skates, and takes a second trip. Holly Blockett comes in, breaking up that wall like a cue ball. Thinning it out for TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter does finish that jam. All said and done. FoCo +8 and Philly +15. Okay, 2 more points rolling in there for FoCo. So FoCo 10, Philly 15. So it still worked out in Philly's favor. Looking at our jammer line, this might be number 99 Soul Crusher for Philly. And if I had to guess, I would say that this is Seek and Destroy for FoCo. Look at that, Soul Crusher versus Seek and Destroy. It's a very empty penalty box, so if it's a 5-on-5 jam, both teams at full strength. Soul Crusher trying to power her way through that tripod of FoCo blockers. Oh, Soul Crusher with a blocking with the head penalty. So FoCo on a power jam now. Seek and Destroy in full control. Seek now coming in on a scoring pass. Philly stretching out their defense at the top of the pack while Soul Crusher still seated for that penalty. And Seek and Destroy makes her way to the front of the pack. Gets a bit of a block but stays in bounds. Finishing that scoring pass. Now Seek and Destroy on a second trip through. Seek and Destroy is in. Oh no, Seek and Destroy called off on a penalty as well. So Seek and Destroy now having a seat in the box. Philly losing their jammer to a second penalty in this jam. So that is going to put Soul Crusher in the box and release Seek and Destroy. It goes without saying now this will be a 2-minute jam with no lead. Seek and Destroy back in. Philly walling up against Seek and Destroy at the front of the pack. Eye roll and Bad Blood working the back of that tripod. Now Matzo Brawl coming back in from the box. 12 seconds left to our jam. FoCo has 4 points on this jam. Philly has been scoreless thus far. Look at that pack running very solid, but just moving enough to play by the rules. That jam is over. Let's see if there were any pending points here for Philly. Does not appear to be the case. FoCo, though, does have 7 points. $20 minutes left to our game. Philly now 126. FoCo 147. And our penalty box is clear. So we do have both jammers on the track. It's going to be some 5-on-5 derby. No Gus, No Glory back out there. But FoCo just running back and forth with Gus. No Gus, No Glory, not lead, but does break out of the pack. Peter Pants jamming for FoCo and his lead. Peter Pants does have 4 points, and he calls off the jam before No Gus, No Glory can score. So 4-0 there, strengthening FoCo's lead. Now, we were down to just a matter of a few points at the beginning of this half, but we are now down to about a 25-point lead. FoCo down a blocker. Pack advantage in the hands of Philly now. Beasting out to jam. But Slim Skady finds a hole on the inside. Gets through, and Slim Skady is lead for FoCo. Beasting stuck in the hive. Beasting gets back up on their skates and gets out. So Beasting is able to complete that initial pass for Philly. Beasting coming in. FoCo stretching out a 3-wall against Beasting in that pack. Beasting with some nice toe stop work, steps on or right in front of that inside line, stays in bounds, and passes all 4 FoCo blockers. FoCo so far scoreless in this jam with their jammer, Slim Skady, in the penalty box. So this is a power jam in the hands of Beasting. Now Philly losing TIE Fighter to the penalty box. Beasting still on this power jam. Philly is scoreless. FoCo coming out with 4 points by Slim Skady. Beasting choosing to keep the pack going, or keep the jam going, trying to get past that tripod of FoCo blockers now. FoCo looking at having an 8-point jam against Beasting's 4. Flomo working some defense there with Matzo Brawl against Slim Skady, but Slim Skady is out with another 4. Apex jump by Slim Skady earns him another 4 points, making this a 16-point jam for FoCo. Beasting is out. Beasting with a 12-point jam. 3 seconds to go. Beasting is in, tries to ride through that pack in the last couple seconds, and it looks like it's effective. Jammer referee holding up 4 fingers for Beasting. So Beasting with 16 points, FoCo netting 3 there. They're at 19. So just a matter of a 3-point difference here in these two. 3-point lead here from that jam. FoCo 170, Philly 142. No Gust, No Glory is out. Significant advantage with FoCo down 3 blockers. They only had 1 blocker on the track. No Gust, No Glory making quick work, getting past that 1 blocker. Now he's out with 4 points. He's lead jammer. He's got the first scoring pass down for Philly. And a forearm penalty is being assessed. Let's see. That's not going to the FoCo jammer. No Gust, No Glory coming in, completing a second scoring trip. Number 116, David and Goliath, not lead jammer, but does have 4 points. No Gust, No Glory coming out with a third scoring pass complete. Gus relying heavily on his defense right now, but David and Goliath getting past eye roll and insanity. Both jammers now scoring some really quick points. No Gust, No Glory coming out with 4. Now make that a 16-point jam. Gus now coming in, taking on that FoCo wall. 3 while turning a tripod. Gus is out, stays in bounds, still very aware of that 4 penalty scenario. Completes that scoring pass. Now Gus looking at 20 points so far. Make that 24. Now we're seeing a Gus, no Gust, No Glory jam. We can normally see No Gust, No Glory bust out anywhere between 24 and 40 points on average. So FoCo also able to score. They're looking at a 20-point jam. No Gust, No Glory coming out with 4 more, so that's going to be 28. Nice defense by TIE Fighter, taking David and Goliath out of bounds. No Gust, No Glory scoots through with a 32-point jam, and No Gust, No Glory rides that out for the full 2 minutes. So all said and done, that's going to net Philly 12 points. Okay, 3 more points rolling in for FoCo. So 23-32 in favor of Philly. And we have, I believe, a timeout called by the FoCo bench. Down to our last quarter of our championship open division game. 19 points separating these teams. FoCo 193, Philly 174. Team timeout here called by FoCo with this 19-point lead in the game. Our crowd intensity picking up here as we are now under 15 minutes to our game. Looks like we're going to see Mayday out there to jam, taking on Seek and Destroy. That pack rolling back before the whistle. Seek and Destroy being caught up by a Philly wall held up by Bad Blood. Mayday is out with the Philly lead. Now Flomo stepping in to work some of that defense again. Seek and Destroy. Seek and Destroy still in the pack, has not completed an initial pass. Matzo Brawl bringing Seek all the way to the back to restart this initial pass. This is a scoring pass by Mayday. She was moved to the outside lane of the track, but stays in bounds, gets through with those 4 points. FoCo taking a bit of a spill there. Recovering gracefully, getting back into that pack. Mayday taken down on the inside, forced to recycle. FoCo taken, Seek and Destroy out of bounds on the outside. So Seek and Destroy is going to have to recycle behind Bad Blood in the back of the pack. Mayday working her way up to the front, but FoCo with a pretty solid 3-wall, keeping her stuck within the pack. Philly down that 4th blocker needed to help assist Mayday getting through that tripod. Okay, Matzo Brawl coming back in, trying to thin that wall out for Mayday. And it's effective because Mayday's out with 8 points. And so far, FoCo is scoreless. Mayday in for another round of points. Right into the hot seat with all 4 FoCo blockers right there, shutting her down. Philly trying to come to her assistance. Looks like Mayday was taken out of bounds on the inside and is going to recycle. FoCo does have 3 points on this jam. Bad Blood taking Seek and Destroy out of bounds to the inside and forcing Seek to restart. Mayday once again trapped behind that tripod of FoCo blockers. FoCo coming out of the box, it appears, but that jam is over. So net 7 for Philly. FoCo 197, Philly 185 after an 11-point jam by number 11, Mayday. At this point, just a matter of 12 points separating Philly and FoCo with 12 minutes left to the game. Let's see who we got. No Gus, no glory. Now, Gus has been pretty light on the penalties, has not received any since that streak of 4 in the first half. Now Gus is out with a lead for Philly. At the same time, Peter Pants getting lead is about half a lap behind Gus. So Gus is out with the first 4 points of the jam. Philly's gonna have to rely on their defense to slow down Peter Pants. Peter Pants is out now, has 4 points. So no Gus, no glory is out also with 4 points. Philly putting some blocking on Peter Pants, allowing No Gus, No Glory to come through and complete that pass. So No Gus, No Glory out with another 4. TIE Fighter going in for a block on Peter Pants, but Peter Pants is too far ahead to be affected. He stays in bounds. Gus is 4 points ahead of Peter, 8 to 12. Now Gus working on a 4th scoring trip. He is making his way up to the front of the pack, but that pivot from FoCo giving it everything they have. No Gus, No Glory is out with another 4. Down to a 4-point game, folks. And Gus is in on another scoring trip, so if this scoring trip is effective, it will bring us to a tie. Can you hear our crowd? 205, 205. No Gus, No Glory closing up that points gap. And Gus comes in, crashes into the pack on the scoring pass, calls off the jam, but not before getting 3 points ahead of FoCo. Philly now, 2 points ahead of FoCo in that last 3 points. So Philly 208, FoCo 206. Timeout called by the FoCo bench. We are now down to the last 10 minutes of our game. Intensity picking up here in our crowd. That team timeout called by FoCo is coming to an end. So Philly now regaining that lead that they had earlier on in the game. They've got Beasting out. Getting the commentary to my Instagram account here. Beasting called off on a track cut. And Peter Pants with an apex jump, picking up a FoCo lead. So FoCo with a power jam, Beasting stuck in the penalty box. This will be a test of Philly's defense. Peter Pants is out with 4 points, putting them back in the lead. Beasting coming out of the box now. Flomo bringing Peter Pants to a halt. Beasting is out. Not lead, but has completed an initial no, Beasting with his star pass now over to Bad Blood. And before Bad Blood can score any points, Peter Pants calls off the jam. So Philly outdone on that power jam against them. Now down 5 points. FoCo with the lead, 214, Philly 209, 8:42 left to our game. Now back to our jam. No Gus, no glory. Has the star for Philly. Now Gus is working his way to the front of the pack. Those blockers stay in play. He gets around them. He is picking up lead for Philly. Slim Skady coming out behind Gus. Bull Jammers out of the pack now. No Gus, no glory coming in. Has 4 points. Philly with a wall, putting a stop on Slim Skady. Philly moving their defense to the top of the pack. Slim Skady still stuck in the pack. Here comes No Gus, no glory in the back of the pack. Slim Skady getting 4 points. So both of our jammers now with 4-point passes behind them. No Gus, no glory is still our lead jammer. Gus still stuck in the back of the pack and is taken down. And Slim Skady called off on a penalty, handing a power jam in the hands of Philly with No Gus, no glory in full control. Philly still with a 4-point deficit. There is the energy from the crowd as No Gus, no glory brings them, I should say, to a tie, 218-218. FoCo down 2 blockers in the box. I'm sorry, a blocker and a jammer. Nonetheless, a bit of an advantage for Philly. That jam is called off. That is going to freeze Slim Skady in the box along with the blocker and by a power start for Philly as they have gotten a 1-point lead over FoCo. So 219-220. We knew the game was going to go like this, and thankfully it is not like the championship game this time last season where it was the Philly versus the Pixies and the scoreboard catastrophe with the 45-minute timeout. However, this is still a heart-stopping game. I'm going to have palpitations for, I think, a week and a half after this. Mayday out the jam, and Mayday picking up lead for Philly. Slim Skady starting in the box now, standing, released, has to complete his initial pass. Mayday, though, on a scoring pass. The Kraken holding up that wall at the top, bracing that tripod. Nice toe stop work by Mayday. Mayday is out, strengthening Philly's lead, but it is still too close to call. We're jam being called off now for a matter of safety. We are looking at No Gus, no glory, I believe, taking on David and Goliath, and it is a 4-3 pack in favor of FoCo. David and Goliath is out. TIE Fighter trying to put a stop on him, but David and Goliath is just too far ahead. TIE Fighter receiving a star pass. David and Goliath gets 4 points, and calls it off. So that's going to bring us to a 1-point game. Still 5 minutes to go. You can see our friend Lloyd Knox over there at the far end by the JRDA table. Lloyd Knox, we can always make sure we get the best action videos from our friends at Hit Squad TV. Beasting back out on the jammer line here. 4:47 left to the game. 1 point lead in the hands of Philly. TIE Fighter trying to put a block on Peter Pants, but Peter Pants is out. Beasting coming out completing their initial pass. So Peter Pants, in the midst of this pack, signals the call off before Beasting can score any points. Some very nice, very smart offense there by Peter Pants. And that's going to give us that 1 point lead on the other side of the scoreboard now. That 2 points is going to put FoCo ahead of Philly by 1 point. Getting messages from a lot of my friends, and I can't respond to, unfortunately, about how they are reacting to this on the remote view. And, of course, we're going to see it here at Champs. Of course, we're going to see it at our last game. No Guts, No Glory back out there. Oh, a forearm penalty called on David and Goliath. We know what those jammer penalties do, and this is the time where it counts the most. So No Guts, No Glory still on an initial pass, but is on the chance of a power jam. So this will be a test of FoCo's defense. No Guts, No Glory is out, and now we saw No Guts, No Glory with, I believe that was a 32-point jam not that long ago. So let's see. This is seriously going to affect what FoCo can pull off at the end of the game. No Guts, No Glory is in on a scoring pass. Avoids several different blocks. Scores 4 points. David and Goliath is in after that forearm, completing his initial pass. No Guts, No Glory half a lap ahead of David and Goliath. Scoring some points. So Gus finishes a second scoring pass. Eye roll taking David and Goliath down, but eye roll will be called off on a penalty. No Guts, No Glory putting 8 points on the board. Make that 12 points. David and Goliath is scoring. He's got 4 points so far, now working on 4. Oh, looks like there was a block at the top of that pack, and I can't see who that was. I think that might have been Matzo Brawl. But David and Goliath stays in bounds, picks up 8 points. Gus trying to just keep this jam going and score point almost pass after pass. David and Goliath finishes a third trip. No Guts, No Glory. At the very end of that jam, called off on a track cut. Gus seated in the box. Philly 240 after a 16-point jam by No Guts, No Glory. FoCo at 237 after a 12-point jam by David and Goliath. And we are looking at an official review called by Philly. No doubt they are going to review that track cut and see if they can get that undone, because at this point, with 1:41 left, that is their key to winning the game. And there is a rolling whistle, so grab on the edge of your seats, folks. We are in for a ride for the next 2 minutes or so. This will certainly be a test of Philly's endurance and defense. No doubt they're going to do their hardest to try to stop that FoCo jammer, and FoCo is putting out Peter Pants. Matzo Brawl working the top of that pack. You can see Philly swarming that jammer, keeping Peter Pan stuck on the outside of the track. Bad Blood now going in there, but Peter Pants is out and has lead for FoCo. Philly walling up the catch. Peter Pants powering his way through, but TIE Fighter coming to the rescue. No Guts, No Glory out of the pack, completing an initial pass. And Peter Pan's calling off the jam, realizing the imminent threat of having No Gust, No Glory creep up behind. So 4 points scored by FoCo puts them in the lead by 1 point with 51 seconds to go. Announcer's curse, hard at work here. 240, 241, FoCo in the lead. Philly calling for a team timeout. A rolling whistle, bringing us to that end of that team timeout, and official review signal going to the Philly bench. So we're going to take an additional moment here. Appears that this official review is being used as a team timeout. Here's Andrew Keys. The only professional photographer takes pictures on his phone. Getting the crowd pumped up for the next minute or so here. Let's see, there it is. Rolling whistle brings us to the end of that timeout that was being called. So Philly with those two back-to-back timeouts. They are down by 1 point. If this game is going to go the way it's been going, we're probably going to go into overtime. No Gust, No Glory back out there. Pack advantage in the hands of Philly. FoCo down one blocker in the box. No Gust, No Glory breaking out, and he is lead, but we are jammer on jammer. I don't think this game could have been scripted any better. Oh, TIE Fighter taking Slim Skady down. No Gust, No Glory picking up 4 points, putting Philly back in the lead. No Gust, No Glory now coming in for a second scoring trip. The Kraken walling up at number 3. This is Spilla trying to hold Gus back, but it looks like Spilla comes very close to going out of play, so No Gust, No Glory is out. FoCo's jammer Slim Skady does have 4 points. No Gust, No Glory calls it off. Unofficial score, folks. FoCo 245, Philly 248. We have to let our officials do their thing now. Our jammer referees, as always, are going to meet with our scorekeepers and go over all of the points in the math because it makes a difference here. We have a final score. They have spoken. Philly, we're taking the win, 248. FoCo 245. This has been a pleasure announcing this game. My name is Carnage. This is how we should expect. This is how we expect these championship games to be, a nail biter. Of course, these two teams were not random. They were in brackets to compete to where it got to this level. So we could have expected gameplay like this. We knew that these championship games usually are not in a blowout. And that came down to strategy and strategy alone. Jammer penalties, of course, playing a role, but Philly is taking their win. If you can't see this massive, huge ring around the track of people, I wish I could be down there, but I've got to be up here taking this high five. I am going to get a video of it. Here comes Philly taking their victory lap around the track with this 3-point win. That means they are champions for the Open Division of the JRDA 2024 season. Now coming around the track, an equally amazing team, very competitive and very strong. Your FoCo Spartans. After this lap here, we're going to break on the feed for a few moments. We're going to get set up for our awards ceremony. It's going to take a little bit of time to get the track cleared off and everything, but we'll come back to you here very, very shortly. Thank you for being on the feed with us. I've gotten a lot of messages from people asking what's going on, giving me their thoughts. Our game is over. We're going to break away and come back to you shortly. Thank you.